and they can tell a little about what they're doing. But let me just read what the Spirit Award is first, just so you'll know. And what the Spirit is, a Spirit Award is for Sandites, it's for outstanding achievements and accomplishments in representing Sand Springs Public Schools and the community at large. And it says at the end, it says, think beyond. And I've got to admit, thinking beyond female wrestling, I never envisioned that we would do that. I love it. I love it that we are representing Sand Springs schools. We're representing the community. We're out there and we're making a difference. Holy cow, these girls that are very special and very successful. So I'm going to ask them to come forward. And if I say your name wrong, it's just because I'm sorry. Ambrielle Chambers, did I get it right? Okay, cool. Come on up and join me. Bailey Copeland, Kenzie Johnson, Lila Mirza, and Kelsey Hilton. Kelsey Hilton. And I'm going to read at each one of them, and then I'm going to let the coaches. We're missing one. Okay, but first off, I'll start off with Ambrielle. Which one's that's you? Ambrielle's in 9th grade. She was first place. She finished the season as the first ever junior high school girls state champion in school history. That is wow. Pretty cool. She was also a 2024 state qualifier for Lady Sandites. And I asked Coach Smith, says, can I really tell their weight? He said, yeah, they're proud of it and stuff too, but at 105 pounds. So cool. I'm going to hold that for a second. I'm going to give you your thing.
If you want to say a few words, you can.
I mean, yeah, you're always welcome to do that. And so, because the wrestling season's over with, we also give them a Chick-fil-A card so they can go eat finally. It's there. And so the next one is Bailey Copeland. Bailey's not here tonight, but let me just read what it says about Bailey. Bailey was in 9th grade. She was the second place junior high division ladies Sandite state qualifier at 100 pounds. The next one is Kenzie Johnson. That's you. All right. You have to take that one out right there. And Kenzie Johnson's in 8th grade, and she got second place in the junior high division. Next. Very cool. Very cool. Lila Mizra. Did I say it wrong again? Mirza. Okay. Layla. Yeah, I got them both wrong. There's probably no question about that. You're the very last one right there. Whoop. No, you're the top one. Thank you, sir. And Layla, she's in 12th grade. And she finished her career as a 2024 state qualifier at 115 pounds and first ever girls state placer in school history. And somebody's going to have to explain this one because she was also a 2023 freestyle Greco-Roman Fargo national qualifier. So one of the coaches will explain that in a minute for us and stuff. See, so. And lastly is Kelsey Hilton in 12th grade ladies stand-out state qualifier at 135 pounds. So. And the coach, I'll give you Bailey's. And then got ladies, amazing. I tell you what, and Coach Smith is right. You could take me down, any one of you, in a heartbeat. So I love what you have done. I love what you do for Sand Springs. You guys are thinking beyond. You're thinking right. You're representing us very well. So I'm going to ask the coaches, say something about them.
All right, well, I'm here to talk about Kenzie. Kenzie's my little 8th grader, as you can tell. So she's a cheerleader also, which I had a handful of cheerleaders, which is kind of weird. I got a cheerleader and a wrestler, but I think we grown to love wrestling. First year wrestler. I did coach. It is in her blood. Her older brother did wrestle for us, me and Kelly, back in the day, and he was actually pretty good. I think what grade's he in now? Is he a senior? Yeah, he's a senior year. So it's in her blood, but just done an amazing job wrestling this year. Couldn't be more proud. Go out, made it to the finals. and lost a tough match in the finals, but was super exciting. And we're just growing. And actually, she's got to leave here to go to cheer practice. So, but she's an athlete, and I'm proud of her. I'm proud of all the girls. Good job.
You just say about any of them you want, and I'll hit it real quick.
Not at all. Hello, my name's Trent Cleveland. I was hired this year as the head girls wrestling coach for the varsity. Came over from Glenpool. Me and Coach Bowling, we've worked several years together. A lot of people don't know this, but he actually coached me. Yes, he is that old. But no, it's been an amazing year. Kind of everything just thrown together. I kind of just stepped in the right spot at the right time. But these girls, starting with Coach Flores at the junior high level, he's got about 35 girls out. But we recruited a lot out of the hallways, and we built this team up to about 20 this year. But to end this year, with 4 state qualifiers and a state placer, it's amazing. And but Ambrielle, first and foremost, she's one of our littler girls. But don't let it fool you. She is really mean, really physical. But she had a great season, and she's only a freshman, so she's got 3 more years at it. I'm pretty sad I didn't get to spend more time with these seniors over here. But Layla Mirza, she ended up placing this year, like was said earlier. But to explain the Fargo qualifier, that happens in the springtime with freestyle and Greco-Roman wrestling. Coach Bowling takes them, practices with them. But she ended up qualifying for the national tournament last year. She's going to do the same this year. And then lastly, Kelsey Hilton. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but we are related. But she's a multi-sport athlete, and she had a really great season, also being a state qualifier. But these girls, nevertheless, did everything they were asked of, and couldn't be more proud of them.
I know everyone knew I would end up coming back and coaching girls wrestling when I left. I'm sure that was the first thought for a lot of people. I'm amazed by how much we've enjoyed it as a staff. What Bubba's done at the junior high was just unbelievable. To walk in that room, and it kind of made us young again. I won't tell all the stories, but he's got one swinging around by her feet, and others are trying. It's just a fun environment, and you can tell the kids really enjoy it. To go do what she did at the state tournament, had a girl that she wrestled in the finals that was real tough. There's blood time, all those things involved in this match, and to see her come through it just speaks volume for her character, how she can persevere and how she'll go out and fight for us. It was really a big deal. These two right here, I'll never forget. I might be guilty of looking at them like my own kids at one point. To be in multiple sports, to make straight A's, to represent our school publicly, I think is what I'm most proud of, how they act in public and what type of people they are. It lays a great foundation for the type of kids that we really want to be a part of that. That's what I have on them. But to put girls wrestling into perspective, we all started at 6 and 7 years old. Most of the boys did too. To see them go out there at 16 and 17, 2 guys in each corner yelling and pointing at them. A girl comes out and slaps her as hard as she can on the whistle, and to know what they had to be going through at that moment, and to kind of fight through that and to put themselves out there, it's a huge deal. And it represents what they can overcome and to face some adversity. I couldn't be more proud of them to come out and do that as juniors in high school. It was a fun thing to watch. So just proud of all of them, love them, and excited for their futures. Thanks, sir.
Very good. Thank you. I just want to read what Coach wrote at the bottom of this. He says, Bailey Cleveland, Ambrielle Chambers, Layla Mirza, close enough that time, and Kelsey Hinton were the first of 4 Lady Sandites to qualify for the state tournament. They led the Lady Sandite wrestling team to a 7-2 overall dual record, champions of the Diamond State Girls Tournament, the first ever, team runner-up at the Cleveland Tournament, and team runner-up at the Ray Murphy Tournament. They also placed 8 out of 31 teams at regionals and 20th out of 45 teams at the state tournament. What a deal. What a deal. We are so proud. They'll take pictures. You can't leave yet. They got to take pictures. And I get the privilege of being in the picture.
Bob has to go front row. So before I get up there, I got to ask Coach Smith a question. It appears that you have more gray hair after coaching the girls than you do the boys. So is that any direct correlation? All right. So I get the pleasure of doing the men's wrestling program. And I look out and I see the three young men out here, and I'm looking at them and going, I remember when they started. And when Coach Kelly Smith says they started at 6 years old, I'm pretty sure I was in the wrestling room with my kids when they were in there. And now I see that there's two of them are seniors and one of them's a junior. That really makes you feel old, believe me. So we got the three young men that are state qualifiers for this year in the wrestling. And I'll go ahead and get Xander and Mason and Scout up here if I could. Xander didn't make it? No, didn't make it. Okay. So we got senior Mason Harris, finished his career as a 4-time state qualifier and 2-time state placer, 4th place in 2023 and runner-up in 2024. And then we have junior Scout Trotter, finished his junior season as a 3-time state qualifier and 4th place at the 2024 state tournament. So Scout, you gonna be 4-time? Yeah. You bet. You bet. So each one is gonna get the same Spirit Award and the same Chick-fil-A. Plans next year. What are we doing?
Going to college, play football.
Where?
Northwestern.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Coach Bowling, anything you have to say? Come on up here. Come on. You're not going to get out of it. You can't get out of it. No, there is no few words with Coach Smith.
My name is Coach Ty Bowling. I came over from Glenpool. It's my second year here. These guys helped make the transition for me very easy. Mason was our leader in the room. He was making sure everybody was always standing up. They weren't allowed to sit down. They couldn't lean on the wall, and they would get very agitated with Mason, but he did a great job of keeping them all up and doing what they were supposed to do. Both of them wrestled with me in the summer. They were on national teams. They were both on the junior dual team. They were both wrestled up at Fargo, the same tournament Layla was at. They won a lot of matches for the national team, and in turn, they end up winning a lot of matches for Sand Springs. So because of all that time that these two put in over the summer and the last couple years, and really, throughout their youth and junior high and high school career is the reason why they're standing here today. And I'm thankful for their leadership and their good attitude and their hard work. So thank you to both.
Can you hear me? Okay. Kinsey was nominated by Miss Carrie Schlehuber. Kinsey has a servant's heart. I don't know if you guys know this, but she is amazing. My daughter's good friends with her, and I am super happy about that. So anyways, I'm going to read what she wrote. I too was in Scouts, so I know how big this is. Okay, Kinsey selected Clyde Boyd Middle School Special Olympics as the focus for her Eagle Scout project this year. Her particular focus was to create an opportunity for the CBMS Special Olympics team to add cornhole as one of the events they participate in for area and state. Kinsey fundraised the money to purchase 2 sets of cornhole boards and bags and team shirts. She also recruited a CBMS teacher to be the coach for the team. This is going to open doors for special education students to participate in cornhole, who may not have been able to play the other sports we offer through Special Olympics. Kinsey set up a personal meeting with me in the fall to discuss her proposal, and she executed the entire project on her own. This initiative, drive, and passion to serve students with disabilities are intrinsic character traits that Kinsey has demonstrated since she became a Special Olympics partner at 8 years old. Her Sandite spirit is evident in seeing a need, finding a solution, and making her dream come true. I hope we have the chance to hire her as special education staff in a few years. Congratulations. Ms. Schlaber, do you want to say anything? Is she here? Oh.
So she texted the three of us and said, I cannot be there tonight, but just tell her that we appreciate her so much and all that she's done for the special ed department and setting this up. And Carrie's just so proud of you and just wanted to send her love and wishes and thank you so much.
It's very awesome. Oh my God. Ruby, and is Owen here? No, he's not. Okay. Sorry, bear with me a second. Okay, this is something else that was super cool. Miss Ruby, there is yours. Okay, so Ruby and Kinsey and Owen Phillips, who's not here, all participated in a video for our bond election. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw it, and out of all the things that being on the board, coming to the meetings about the bond, nothing hit home to me more than the video of the kids saying, hey, help us out. This is our school, and it's kind of crummy, and we'd love for you to pass this for us. And so anyways, Lisa Chittister, she is the one who nominated them. And she said, I am nominating Clyde Boyd Middle School students Owen Phillips, Ruby Wenzel, and Kinsey Cloud, who helped communicate the recent bond issue. Owen and Ruby collaborated with me to create a video showing the bond proposals from the student perspective. The two are 8th grade journalism students who provided their insights, creativity, humor, and acting chops to make a great video. Owen and Ruby shared how the current facilities impact their day-to-day lives and how the bond would change those experiences. Kinsey provided her point of view as an 8th grader in the main bond video. She was articulate, thoughtful, and eager to help however she could. These students showed great generosity in volunteering their time and efforts with these projects. I truly enjoyed working with them, and I am grateful for their help. They did an excellent job. So, thank you.
I'll just take a minute to say how much I really enjoyed working on this project. It was probably the funnest thing that I've done is working with you guys. And Owen too, he can't be here, but he was fun. Just so grateful for your time and your efforts, and I can't wait to see how you guys grow and continue your academic careers after this. And thank you for your help passing a bond. You guys were a big part of that. Thank you.
Yes, these are amazing young women. Keep your eye out for them because they'll do great things.
Come on up here. Well, I have the privilege of introducing you to a wonderfully awesome human right here. If you know Eric, you know what I'm talking about. I just had the privilege of really meeting him and becoming, I can say, friends with him, right?
That's right.
We have met through the chamber, and he welcomed me in with open arms. And if you know him, you know that he is hilariously funny. He can make you laugh. Even when you don't want to laugh, he'll make you laugh. But mostly, he's so caring. He cares about what he does, and he cares about the people that does it with him. So this award tells us exactly who he is. So Angela, come on up here. I don't have my Bob Barker microphone, or I'd say, come on down. But anyway, she had some wonderful things to say about you. She said, you know that moment when you're planning an event and realize you need to call in an ally to get the job done. That's where Eric Stuckey comes in. He will make it happen, whether it's waffle math. I have no idea what that is. Is it fun?
I can specialize in anything.
Okay, all right. Setting up a 9-square game or shopping for hundreds of people for food. He has a spirit fueled by selflessness and turns each challenge into an opportunity to come to the rescue. And that's very true.
I have a little trinket for you.
Oh.
It's a tiny little waffle maker for your test.
I'm known for my waffles.
Yeah,
That's
he taught
awesome.
some waffle math for us to make sure
Waffle
that we
math.
could feed everybody for we did a teacher breakfast, and he made sure that we could feed everybody.
Waffle math's not easy.
And I did
Hey,
not trust
obviously.
to be fair, because people that know me know how I am, and
Thank
I
you.
didn't
That's
trust
super
the
nice.
waffle
I'm gonna
math,
give
so
this
I
to you,
sent
too.
someone else to go get more waffle mix. But Eric was right all along, and we had so.
I just know Waffle House.
That's
all
what
I know.
I know. Waffle House,
Yeah,
waffle
that's it.
math. I guess it's the same. Well, thank you for all your selflessness and all that you do for your community and for the people in it. So let's
Anything
give
for
him
the
a round of applause. Yes.
There we go. And some of our ladies and men have already left, but I just want to tell each of our students what an inspiration you are, and thank you for your leadership, because I know this is going to sound corny to young people, but when you get to my age, you're looking for hope, and I see hope in generations to come through our young people, and thank you again. So now I have 2 more Sandite Pacer Awards, and it is a family night, so I'm going to have Carrie Stuckey come up here, and she was nominated by Miss Noel, and I'd like for her to come up also. And oh, this is hilarious. The nomination is that you're always know what's going on before you even ask, and you have the bases covered. You are there to. Still not.
Me?
Oh,
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, and you're there for a support system. You anticipate needs. You follow through. And I'm just going to let Miss Noel tell you.
Well, okay, I'm gonna try not to cry. I love her. She's amazing, and I would not have made it past the last several years without Carrie Stuckey by my side. She's made, oh gosh. She's just precious in every way. She anticipates every need. She comes to me, she knows exactly what I'm going to say about something. She starts to figure out what everyone else needs and make sure everyone else is comfortable before she's comfortable. She's just like a mom. She's definitely a mom. But I got her this shopping cart for her desk because she's been my shopper for the last several years. And so it's a little something that just tells you it's all about the little things, and it's about, Carrie going, did you eat today? Or do you plan on eating this week? Or things like that. And so if you just have a whole building full of these people, it just makes the whole world go round. So I just appreciate you. So, and I miss you already.
And we have one more, and it is Cassidy Wynn. come on up. And he was nominated by Miss Settlement, and I'll let, come on. And I get off. And she writes that Cassidy consistently goes above and beyond his role, inspiring those around him to strive for excellence. And he has played a significant role in supporting, training, payroll, and other positions in the finance department. And he's not only a valuable asset to the team, but also a supportive colleague. And he exemplifies the qualities and values of the Sandite Pacer Award.
Sure. Cassidy. Cassidy is like a chameleon. He can take on any job, follow it through, train people in the process, and he's a pleasure to work with. He is phenomenal. He look at the smile, and we get to see this every day. And it's just such a pleasure to work with people like this, like Carrie. We're surrounded by people here in Sand Springs. So,
Thank you, Dawn.
you're
Very last award. There's a lot tonight. But this one's very special as you see her at every single event that we have, every meeting that we have. She is the behind the scenes, the wonderful lady that makes our pictures and videos look fabulous, Miss Lisa Chittister. If you know Lisa, you know she is as sweet as pie and always has a smile on her face because she can make you smile. And I've just been blessed to know her this past year and getting to know her even better. So Sherry Durkee nominated you. Come on up here. You get to be a part of this. She had some wonderful things to say about you. Ms. Chittister has been stellar in her approach to all things communication for Sand Springs School. She is thoughtful and deliberate in her approach. She stays beyond reproach and carefully answers any and all patron questions in close collaboration with our team. During the bond campaign, Lisa was in her element. I can say that for sure. She was tireless in her endeavors, making sure every I was dotted and T was crossed. While bond elections bring stress along the way, Lisa held her composure and stamina every step of the way. Her suggestions were spot on and appreciated. It is with pride I am recommending Ms. Chittister for the Coin of Excellence. There you go. And here is this. Oh, thank you. Would you like to say something?
So you don't know what you don't have until you hire someone that absolutely takes the show. I mean, she has been my right hand. I'm not really sure, 3 years in, how we ever did this without her, because it doesn't matter if it's a bond issue or an emergency, or it really doesn't matter. She stays cool as a cucumber, keeps her head on, and absolutely articulates in a way that most people can't. And so we love you. Yep.
All right, well, that's it for the fun of the evening. So if those do not want to stick around and watch the boring part, then this is a good time to head on out. And thank you for coming.
Bye, y'all.
Hey, Chloe. can't believe you didn't bring Nolan with you. Oh, okay. Yeah, he would have been sitting on my lap.
That's awesome.
All right, we're going to kind of jump ahead if we have no objections and move on to items 38, 39, 40, so we can get,
Mr. Robin,
yes,
yeah.
out before the end of the night. So the floor is yours, sir. Yeah, better do that so that all the YouTubers can hear you.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. The first of my three items, by the way, thank you for moving me up. I appreciate it.
Sure.
This is a renewal item for my contract. There are no changes to the fees from last year. I just have just a renewal item each year.
I make a motion, we approve item number 38 to approve the financial advisor service agreement with the Bank of Oklahoma.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Zach, thank you for what you've done for us, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Call for a vote, please.
Mullen?
Aye.
Wagers?
Aye.
Wagnon?
Aye.
Hanlon? Aye. Noggle?
Aye. I'll proceed to 39, please.
So the federal tax code gives you the ability to issue bonds that are both tax exempt and taxable. And so we have two series of bonds this year because we want to utilize that ability in the code to issue as many of the bonds as we can as tax exempt at a lower rate. And so analyzing the use of the bond proceeds and the timing of those proceeds, we can split the GO bonds planned for this year into a federally taxable series and then one that is tax exempt. And so we want to do that so that we can limit the interest cost for you and your patrons. So item 39 is for the Series 2024A bonds. These bonds comprise bonds from the 2019 and the very recent and very successful 2024 bond election. That amount is for $3,510,000. These are the bonds that will be tax exempt to the bondholders, okay? Bids for these bonds will be due at 9:00 a.m. on April 25th. We have a meeting that day at noon where I will present the bids to you. These are 5-year GO bonds, and so we'll have principal in years 2 through 5. You can't have it in year 1 just because of the way the bonds go on and off the taxes. So years 2 through 5, and so these are the tax exempt series in the amount of $3,510,000. You have separate action items because these are separate series of bonds, and so we're going to do everything separately for each series because they are true, they are separate from each other.
Sure. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion
I
to
will s-
authorize the sale of the district's general obligation building bond, Series 2024A, under the following items.
And I will second.
Sure. I have a motion and a second for item number
Can I just ask a question real quick?
39.
Easy?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
How easy is it to sell the bonds that are tax exempt? Is that easier?
Most bonds are sold as tax exempt, actually.
Sure, so that
There is
helps out?
there's an extremely large market for bonds that are taxable, but traditional school municipal bonds are usually tax exempt, actually. So there's probably more buyers and more interest for the tax exempt bonds.
How do you decide what's tax exempt and what's not?
That is a great question. So it has to do with the timing of the bond proceeds. And so because some of the bond proceeds are related to a prior lease financing, the IRS says that if you use those proceeds more than 90 days after they're issued, they can't be sold as tax exempt bonds. And so we do the math on what amount of your bonds, because we want to limit the amount of the taxable bonds, because that's the more expensive debt. And so we look at the use of the proceeds to determine what bond proceeds will be used in a fashion that the tax code says they can't be issued as tax exempt bonds. And those bonds are in the federally taxable issue. The rest of them stay in the tax exempt series. And when we run the numbers, we determine that even with having to pay fees on each series of bonds, which you do, the interest cost savings on the tax exempt series far outweighs that, and it's a net savings for Sand Springs schools.
And then we have to use those funds within a certain time limit after we sell them?
I'll use my dad voice, I use it a lot. Very good at it. So for tax exempt bonds, you have 3 years from when they are issued to
Okay.
spend funds. And so I don't think we'll have
That
any
will be a
issue spending
problem.
down that money. There are less restrictions on the taxable bonds, but they come at a much higher rate.
Oh, we've already spent those.
Good,
They're
that's
done.
easy. I was just concerned we might have to spend it in 90 days or something or
So
whatever,
the
but no.
portion that has to be spent within the 90 days, I don't want to hold
That's
it.
okay.
They will be.
Okay.
So then the balance, you have that, the up to 3 years to spend down the funds.
Okay.
Miss Durkee has those.
She won't have a problem
Oh,
spending money
yeah,
within
not at
90
all.
days.
Not at all.
That's not a
Yeah,
big
we
deal.
can do that.
Okay, cool. I'm good. Thank you, Zach. Thank you.
Sure, okay, let's go ahead and call for a vote, please, on item 39.
I have a question.
Okay.
Should we say that the time and the place the bonds are to be sold and the fixing of the amount of the bond to mature each year?
Or as presented, either one is fine. And I'll just say too that the tax exempt bonds will pay installments of $875,000 in years 2, 3, and 4, and so the math works, $885,000 in the final year. So that's the installments in years 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the 2024 A bonds. That will be, bids are due at 9 a.m. on April 25th.
Okay, we're good.
Mullins,
Aye.
Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye. Item 40, please. Sale of the taxable bonds.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So the balance of the bonds is for $2,745,000. They will be sold as taxable bonds. Bids for those bonds are due at 9:30 a.m. on April 25th. Those bonds will pay in 4 installments, years 2, 3, and 4 in the amount of $685,000, and year 5 in the amount of $690,000. So again, these are 5-year GO bonds, again, relatively short bonds. So even though they're at the higher rate, we try to get them on and off the tax rolls as fast as we can so that we can be as efficient as we can with your tax dollars.
I will move to approve a resolution authorizing the sale of the district's general obligation building bonds, federally taxable series 2024B, and setting forth the following items as stated.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
I'll see you soon.
Appreciate
Okay,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Safe travels back home.
Start a great golf day. You're a golfer, right? I try to remember you play golf.
I was. What the heck?
Yes, stamp. Did I miss one?
I just want to say thank you to the community for allowing us to do what we just did.
Yes.
Tremendous vote that we got a couple of weeks ago. What a deal. Sand Springs, thank you. Thank you.
I would just comment while he's finishing too, Mr. Mullins. We had 3 bond elections in different communities that night in the Tulsa area. And our voters, I want to comment about how well our voters showed up. Of course, we would want more to show up, but we actually had 100 more voters in Sand Springs than Bixby, which was it was more, and 100 less than Jinx. So that really does speak volumes about the folks in Sand Springs, getting to the polls, making sure their voices are heard. So that's a great comment to say thank you to our public.
I think it speaks volumes about what is truly a priority for Sand Springs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we will.
Move on to item 7, please.
Yes, so there's obviously some things we want to talk about in regard to just learning and all of that, but our basketball girls are headed to the state tournament this week, Wednesday night. So it is likely next month you'll be celebrating with the basketball team. It's a big deal to make the state tournament. When it's 6A and other sports besides football, you're competing with the entire state. And so our ladies are pretty scrappy and just work really hard. So I'm excited. We're heading to Norman to the Lloyd Noble Center at 9 p.m. Not at 9 p.m., but that's when they play on Wednesday night. So from afar, if you choose not to go, I totally get it, but root them on. So I'm very excited about that. The other thing that I didn't report in my written notes is that we are starting our interviews for Charles Page High School principal this week. I've said that with our team, and I just want to make everyone aware. I know people are pretty anxious about understanding who that will be. We're hopeful to have that person named by spring break, so just be aware that that's happening as well this week. The good news, Jay Roeder, I think he's still in the room. He, as you know, sits on the state textbook committee that helps decide what curriculum districts will be able to choose. This year happens to be math, and we now have 3 through, I think, his efforts on the committee. He serves as the vice chair now. McGraw-Hill was approved as one of our options. So we now have 3 out of typically 7 or 8 options, maybe a few more, textbook selection. So that's a good thing. So thank you, Jay, for serving in that capacity. A couple other things, our 8th grade students, I'm assuming probably a couple of our own board members have a couple of 8th graders that got to visit the Freshman Academy last week. Great way to introduce our upcoming students to enrollment opportunities and curriculum options for the 9th grade. And we also held the CPHS showcase, programs showcase, and I know Miss Wagers and her 8th grade daughter who was very interested in seeing what Charles Page has to offer. So it's just good stuff. We're not saying no, and if you ever have a chance to visit, I was able to go to our aviation program, which is upstairs in the 9th grade center, and witness firsthand the teacher in that program and what he's doing with the kids. And what's happening now is we're getting a lot of interest for aviation, which is a great thing. So he's wanting more space. We're working through that a little bit with him, and so we'll see where that lands. But good things are going on at Sand Springs Public Schools for sure. Any questions about instructional strategies, student staff empowerment?
Nope. We'll move on to item 8, please.
Item 8 is all about finance and facilities. Vernon Florence's newsletter is attached this time. Again, we're seeing a good trend with state revenue, which means that we're rocking on very well, staying very stable. I'm proud to report, and I know probably Ms. Arnold's great. It's a good thing to hear this as well. But every person we hired with our ESSER money, we're getting ready to retain this year. There's this big funding cliff that people are talking about, knowing that our COVID funds are ending this year. But we certainly have positioned ourselves in a place that we're not having to cut staff that maybe we hired because of that funding. So that's a good fun thing to report. Again, items 38 through 40, you've approved those already, but that it was related to our bond sale and a culmination too of our bond election on February 13th. And then I would just bring item number 37 up to you. We'll talk about it during the action items, but that's a contract with Dick Watts. If you remember, he served the district beautifully over the last literally 20 years, being that person, kind of the go-to for problem solving, and he's now retiring his company. I think his son is in a place to take over, but he's going to stay on as a consult because just institutional knowledge, much like Ms. Kavach, you really can't lose if you have them available to help you funnel through. So as we're kind of entering into the new bond era, there's a lot of small projects that he's going to be intimately involved with. And then lastly, it's not on your notes, however, I do want to make mention of just the presentation of an opportunity last week with the approach of the Methodist Church with a piece of property that they are selling. It's located on the corner of 38th and 113th West Avenue. Right across from Anytime Fitness. It comes with right at 8 acres and a gymnasium. As you know, when we start to finish the project for central office, we'll be tearing down the old 9th grade center gym. It's been deemed unsafe. And so there's a little bit of work to do. Mike Mullins was able to come in and look at it Saturday morning. We took a team, Ms. Kavach, Mr. Watts, Mike Bynum, Rod Sitton came and looked because there's a gymnasium on the property already, and we really could use some gym space. So there's some discussion with the city about how the property is zoned, just some things that we need to work out, but we feel like it's probably going to be a great purchase for the district. Location alone, I mean, there's a gym there, which makes it very lucrative for us because we need the space, but just the location, in the middle of town. Charles Page High School is not outgrown its space, but truly there's not very much space on that campus to build. And so I think there's a lot of potential futuristically, but certainly a purchase would behoove us to start using the gym facility immediately. So I was pretty excited about that. Again, more to come on that one. A little bit of homework to do on it, but it could be pretty quick that we would recommend a purchase. Something, to be honest, I haven't done the whole time I've been superintendent. So I'm fairly excited about that and more than happy to answer any questions about that property.
The 9th grade gym.
Yes.
What is in there now?
Right now, it's a floor, a few goals, the scoreboard before we start demolition. I know Mr. Sittons is wanting to capture the scoreboards and the goals, so we'll be pirating a few things out of that facility before we demolish. I have had one person that is indicating they know someone that might be interested in purchasing a floor. That could happen. We haven't had a whole lot of luck with that. You know, we redid the PE gym at the high school a few years ago, and interestingly, there was sand underneath that floor, and it wasn't super conducive to selling, to be honest. So we'll see about the floor, but it's in pretty bad shape. And if you all will remember, we had an analysis done by a structural engineer back in the fall, and it was deemed unsafe.
Yeah, I
So
just didn't know
it's
if
time.
maybe there was a some people out there that would purchase sections of the
Maybe, I mean,
the floor
right.
as a fundraiser to
Right.
they did that at Galgaraiba when OSU
Right.
when they renovated, they sold some chairs and
Right. Well, it
that
was
type of deal. I don't-
interesting you mentioned that, Mr. Noggle, because today we were having a conversation about the gym facility that's on that property that we're looking at. And Mr. Beard said, I wonder if we could transition that floor over to the new facility. I don't even know if that's possible, but it's actually a fairly good idea. It's a pretty good idea. So we're going to, any time we can utilize what we have already, that's something we need to do. So again, a lot of considerations before that building comes down. But you'll see that we've surplused all of the contents. And so Mr. Bynum put out kind of an all call to leadership to say, hey, this has been surplus if there's anything in it furniture-wise that you want. One of the things that people have asked about, I say people, couple of people, are those chairs that say Central 9th Grade Center. It's just interesting what catches people's eyes. In fact, one of our employees has one in their office because they went to school there. So you never know, but that we'll be talking about that.
Sure.
Putting some information out for sure. Great question.
Right. Item 9, please.
So communication and community involvement, this is about empowering families. Parent-teacher conferences are scheduled for next week. Historically, we have a really great turnout, even at the high school, because it's pre-enrollment time. So again, with the showcase and with the 8th grade visits, kids know that it's time to prep for next year. And so I don't imagine that will be any different than it has been in the past. And again, I mentioned the showcase that was open to parents and patrons of our offerings and the diversity in our programming. And then we held dialogue tonight. It's interesting. The bond has passed. Bond committee meetings are over. We'll still continue to do dialogue in person every Monday night before a board meeting. We had one patron show up, which is fine, but we put it out each month. I know Ms. Chittister always makes sure it's advertised on social media, and Ms. Shope sends it out to our email group that also receives the board agenda too. It's when interest spikes, people come, but it's still going to be a really great space for people who have questions. We open it up, basically any question a patron might have. So we'll continue to do that in person. As you know, we were doing dialogue via virtually when COVID happened, and I just think giving people, the patrons, a space to come and talk about things that are on their mind is a healthy way to be transparent and have business. So we'll continue that practice as well.
I just want to make a comment about, like the showcase is, I think it's a great deal because I know education is a revolving wheel, and, you know, back when I was in high school, they started taking out everything that was, you know,
skill-based,
yeah,
hands-on.
skill-based, and everything was college prep, and now it's going for full circle, and everybody's starting to put more tech programs, more job-ready programs in their high schools, and you know, even, I can't remember where I read it, but even a lot of industry out there is already cutting back all of their requirements for college, for four-year education. They're just, you know, it's too many people out there have a college degree, and they're not even utilizing the college degree they have.
Right.
I mean, let's face it, when you go get a job, they're gonna tell you how to do it anyway. So I don't know what the 4 years is all about. But to get back to us, I think we have a great program and a lot of skill-based education out there that's gonna, it would be good for, you know, people to come and see, and I hope that there's some news agencies out there that have been invited to walk through and see what we're doing. So hopefully they.
We've gotten quite a bit of publicity, and now's a good time to mention two things. One is there's an article I have attached to our leadership agenda for in the morning, and it's from District Administration Magazine, and it was talking about how industries and business have literally eliminated, some of the industries have eliminated the requirements for education. And they listed 10 that still have like a bachelor's degree requirement, but 52% of the industries across the nation have no requirement for higher ed, which is interesting. We utilize Tulsa Tech, you know this, in a big way, and so a lot of our kids take advantage of those programs, and we house 3 right now at Charles Page High School. One of my favorites, to be honest, is FFA. They're having the local show Saturday morning, opens up at 8. This is a shameless plug to anybody that wants to go to that, but open up at 8, the show it starts at 9 or 10. They serve burritos,
10.
all that. But it's a way to showcase some of the things that we do there, and that group of people, of course, Eric left, but the Sand Springs Home allows us to do that program on their property, meaning we're not paying for it, which also means we don't put a lot of money in capital improvements on it because it doesn't belong to us. But the things that they do in terms of welding and building and fixing leaks and all those things are hands-on opportunities for it to be a meaningful application of skills that they need to learn. So I could go expansive and talk about all those programs, but I love the fact that we've based what we do. Some of you toured the Wellness Center last time, and we had, I think, Ms. Wagner and Mr. Mullins came down today. But we have a student intern right now that we pay, and she would like to go into just athlete wellness. Anyway, she is working for us. We're paying her hourly to help facilitate keeping the facility clean, making sure the machines are in working order. So that's what our goal is, to make sure we're partnering with community and putting our money where our mouth is to make sure kids have that strategy of learning some skill sets that may or may not include a higher education program. So I think that's where we're going to be. We're already there, to be honest, but I don't think it's going to be decreasing anytime soon.
Can you forward those corporations
Absolutely,
to me?
yes, yes.
I'll forward them on to you know who,
Okay, yeah, for sure.
the youngest.
I'm with you on that one. Yes, I will.
All
Um,
right. Any further discussion? Oh, you've heard me talk enough. Go to 10, please.
You bet. Bond projects were, as you know, the bond issue passed. I was commenting to our team at Dialogue about this gives us a little bit of leeway to release projects that we might not have otherwise released, to be honest about it, but knowing we have bond money coming for the next 16 years will allow us to do some of those projects without worrying, which is such a great thing to be able to do. We have, now's the time where Mr. Bynum starts collecting, hey, what are your needs? And a lot of those projects for facilities are all about safety. So we have a safety grant. He's replacing some doors, I believe, at Limestone and Angus right now, but it allows us to really take a peek and think about what other things need to be corrected. One of my favorite slides was one of the last ones I put in when I was on my Bond Road show, and it was about that continued maintenance piece. And I sent an email out to Mr. Bynum that last week. Limestone floor is sinking on one area, and that's something that you can't deny. So we're going to be peering it this summer. Thank you, Mr. Watts, for the expertise in how to do that. But it's just that continuous maintenance strategy that's super important, and safety is a big part of that. Let's see. Putting the final touches on the Employee Wellness Center. I think we're there. There was a little hitch in the door tonight when we were at the exterior door that we're going to have looked at one more time. But you will see an all-staff email come out Friday with just the how-to. Here's how you get your fob, a little bit of professional development prior to. I'm meeting with a yoga instructor and Zumba instructor this week, and then have discovered that we have another person that could potentially spend a day a week, night a week, facilitating just kind of personal training type information, how to use a machine, how do you what's the best position for your body when you're doing this. So we try to eliminate injury. But people are so excited about it. I can't wait. So that, I'm hoping we can get that out, and really the week before spring break we can launch. So that's the goal. So questions about health and safety.
Let's move on to consent agenda.
Consent agenda, there's really just a couple things I want to bring to your attention. The first is item number 21, letter A. I want to talk a little bit about Project Lead the Way grant. I'm going to let Sean Beard speak on that a little bit because, as you know, that's our premier science curriculum, K-12. But we applied for an RDAW grant, which is a business in Sapulpa, has second year successful. Sean, I'm going to let you take it away. But then I also want you to talk about the internship. You can use my mic as well. Internship opportunity as well. So if you don't mind, share that information.
So a few years ago, we had an opportunity through Project Lead the Way to apply for a grant that was funded by Ardaw Steel in Sapulpa. And at that time, we were able to secure $15,000 grants each for all of the school sites. And then there was a 2-year lapse where we could not apply again. And then the window opened back up for us this past fall. And I was able to secure $10,000 grants each for the ECEC and the 5 elementaries. So we were able to get $60,000 in grant funding from Ardaw Steel and Project Lead the Way. So we're very excited about that because it's going to allow us to train 2 lead teachers in each building and then provide some much needed refills on supplies. As part of that, Ardaw Steel recognized the efforts that we've gone through over the past couple of grant cycles to secure funding. And so and they knew that we had a fairly robust program at the high school to provide internships for students, and so they reached out to the high school to instill an intern at their plant in Sapulpa. So we had talks coming up about that very soon. So we're very, very excited about that. So
it's fun stuff. It feels great. I mean, it feels great to have partners in Sand Springs, but it also feels great to have folks outside of our purview in Sand Springs to also take notice and participate and partner with us in that way. So that was kind of a surprise that we didn't initiate. That was dropped in our lap. So I'm proud of that. The last thing I'd bring to your attention, well, there's a couple of things. Item number 30, well, 27 is the capacity report. That's normal now that you're seeing that every quarter. But item number 30 is the third 21st century grant application, and we're targeting Early Childhood Education Center and Pratt Elementary. Jamie Conrad is hot and heavy filling that grant application out. It takes the first letter of intent from the board to approve, and then we'll carry on. So right now, as you know, we're running two concurrently, Northwoods and Garfield, as well as Angus and Limestone. So this would complete the elementary 21st century grant, which provides after school and summer programs for our kids. So keep your fingers crossed on that one. And then item number 32, just kind of a reminder, that's the contract. It's not new, but I bring it to your attention because commencement is on May 18th, but the Mabee Center lease agreement for CPHS graduation. So those are the three consent agenda items I'd bring to your attention tonight.
Great. Do I have any questions about anything on the consent agenda? All right. Call for a motion that we accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Call for a vote, please.
Mullins.
Aye.
Wagers.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Hanlon. Noggle.
Aye. All right, so we're into any need to go into executive session? We can see any? Seeing none, we'll move to item 34, please.
I'll move to approve the employment recommendations for the 23-24 school year as stated.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussions? Call for a vote, please.
Mullins.
Aye.
Wagers.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Hanlon.
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye. Item 35,
That
proposed approval of the district's instructional calendar for 2024-2025 school year.
That was first read last month. It has not changed. I believe there was one PLC Friday that wasn't yellow, that was corrected. But it was exactly what you saw with the exception of that one yellow Friday from last month.
I'll move to approve the district's instructional calendar for the 2024-25 school year.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Call for a vote, please.
Mullins.
Aye.
Wagers.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Hanlon.
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye.
Item 36 is not something that's new. We have had a maintenance and service contract with ECT for some time now, but that's just, and Mike, you're more than welcome to step in, but that's a contract that allows them to service our units and make recommendations about those.
Any questions about item 36?
No, I'll make a motion. We have reached an agreement with the heating, HVAC preventive maintenance with the Eddy Current Testing Company.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a
Like, if
second.
we used them before, I saw we had one thing from them, but on this can't, but
Yes, sir. They've been both our service and preventive maintenance provider for the last 3 or 4 years.
okay.
We decided this year it was time, just due to prudence, to go out to bid again. We had 12 companies bid, and they wanted to see a bid again.
Cool.
All right. I have a motion and a second. Call for a vote, please.
Mullins.
Aye.
Wagers.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
Hanlon.
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye. Item 37.
And that's what I discussed in my notes. Consulting services agreement for Richard Watts, otherwise known as the Watts Company, but just providing repairs for improvements, scope, and receiving bids for solutions, and also just consultation.
I'll I'll make a motion to approve the consulting service agreement with Richard Watts.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any-
Jackie?
Jackie. You call for a vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye. I think we have done 38, 39, 40, correct?
That's
Yes.
correct.
We've done those stuff. Item 41, any matter? Any announcements?
There are not.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Call for a vote, please.
Mullins,
Aye.
Wagers,
Aye.
Wagner,
Aye.
Hanlon,
Aye.
Noggle.
Aye. I'm out of here. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Zach,
Thank you,
Be
Zach.
careful.
Yeah, thank you, Zach.